Brought to you in association with Grendel Press. This is Werewolf the Podcast, a serial killer drama.
Hey, no. Hey, what? This isn't that. This is that, not that. This is Werewolf the Podcast, the serial killer drama. Yeah? Buddy. Anyway. Sorry about that. Down in the description there's things. You can follow us and find all out about us and stuff. We did a live episode quite a while back. It's on YouTube and stuff. It's dead ace. You could go and see it if you want, but we're not the fucking Simpsons. Sorry, speaking to my editor.
The Professor. No, my unfortunate friend. That will not do. Show yourself as you are, please. I told the new Vaughnt, who was standing across from me, looking all vaunty and doing a good job of doing such. I mean, one Vaughnt was pleasant viewing, so two were. The real Vaughnt and I had been working our way through the building. The building was a prison of sorts. It seemed to hold a number of creatures and humans that were being guarded by the changelings. We hadn't released any of the said prisoners. That would have made the whole process a little chaotic, would it not? This way, we could work out who to deal with. Anyone on the outside of the cells was fair game. We didn't add to the number of prisoners in the cells. I suppose that tells you the fate of those we met. If any of the bad guys had joined the prisoners in a cowardly manner, they'd be dealt with later. And due to Vaughnt's merciless manner, they may realize that staying in the cell was probably the best idea. The building was based on the cliché dungeon that you would imagine in your mind. You know, the sort of oldie dungeony, trademarky. A place of torment and mild mold allergies, on a sign above the large, ominous iron gates. Said gate should and probably would be covered in rust and questionable stains from blood or possibly other bodily effluvia. The walls of the dungeon are of course made of old stone and moisture. I mean that properly, eternally moist stone that no one can work out where the water comes from to keep it so. I often wonder if these places have anti-plumbers and anti-janitors. Must be a full-time job to keep a place of this type looking so, eldritch. They probably use magic. What am I saying? Of course they use magic. Those moist walls are not the good kind of moist either. Yes. Well, we'll leave the moist at that point and change moist to foist, and then foisty. Foisty is that fungal-smelling moist. You know, when it's been organic and moist for a while. You must know this smell. Great word, isn't it? Foisty. This is a smells like damp dog and bad decisions dungeon. Too many and obviously useless change dangle from the ceiling like someone's trying way too hard to be edgy. I constantly find it remarkable that there's always at least one skeleton hanging in a cell that looks suspiciously posed as if it had died mid-dance move. Skeletons are not good dancers. Not that I'm an expert in all forms, but skeletons are invariably shit. The cells themselves were outfitted as if they'd been described by a young Harry Potter fan fiction writer. What's that bloody prison called in Harry Potter? You know the one. Azkaban. Is that it? Azkaban? Azkaban. That's the one. It's fitting that the place here is protected by what are really shit-looking Dementor changeling-y type things. Just for the record, I wouldn't want to face those bloody actual Dementor things. Give me the bloody shivers. Non-consensual soul-sucking. The cells each have within them one bed that is made of straw and regret. The chamber pot is directly from the Bronze Age. Probably last emptied then too. And then there are the bloody rats. Dirty bastards that they are. Not the cute Disney ones, but swole, sarcastic rats who I imagine steal your rations and mock your screaming. Vicious blighters. Anyway, let's leave the descriptions there, shall we? You get the idea. It was all Azkaban-y. Please don't sue us, JK. It's not our fault that the whole wide world knows what I mean if I say Azkaban-y, right? Anyway, back to the, story thing. The changeling turned from its excellent version of Vaughnt to its impression of a shit Dementor. Sorry, I can't get that idea out of my head. They're such bloody good reads, those books. Do you know, thinking of myself as a sort of sensible grown-up type, I resisted those books for years. And then somebody very dear to me convinced me to try the first. Well, I'm afraid I was hooked. I mainlined the entire series end to end. It was like a lost weekend on the crack. Did I just admit that? Can you please tell me what this place is? I asked the cloaked figure. Said the cow. Sorry, what? I asked it again. Said the cow once more. I pulled that face you pull when you're trying to listen really hard to something. I don't know the technical name for that face, but you know the one. And I pulled it. Again, dear chap, maybe without the head coverings. The cowl was lowered to reveal nothing but empty space. Oh, bugger. I forgot about that in your sort. I tapped my finger on the stock of the shotgun, which I was holding a little nonchalantly across my chest. I looked at Vaughnt. She was checking her claws and using an emery board to resharpen any that looked a little dull. They should be dull from our last few minutes of work. She should also be spattered in blood and gore, but she wasn't. She was immaculate, as always. Perfect hair, perfect makeup. Just bloody perfect. It had been a little difficult to watch her groom herself, licking that stuff off her body. It had given me that good Scottish term, the boke, which describes when you heave up food and catch it in your mouth. Not vomit it, just it entering your mouth. And then you're presented with that awful choice of what to do with it. Ugh, just heinous. What do you think, Vaughnt? Any ideas? She looked at me as if trying to run through the last few moments of conversation that had just occurred, obviously without her. Then she shrugged and got back to the sharpening. She could have used an industrial sharpener on those bloody things. Have to admit, they gave me the willies. Oh, never mind, I said, looking back at the empty robes. Oh, forget it. Bugger this for a game of soldiers. You're fucking toast me, old beauty. I lifted the shot and blasted the changeling in the robed body. It fell and liquidized into another black oily puddle as I returned to Mossberg to my warm embrace.
Will, this cycle of torture is beyond my tolerance. I've been burnt 3 times in this chair. I'd seen, smelt, and felt myself burn to the point of blacking out, to only awaken for it all to happen again. I've no idea how much time has passed. Being burnt was like your skin was being turned into 1,000 screaming mouths. Every bit of you throbs. No, that's not enough. At first it's heat, pure, impossible, suffocating heat. It wraps around you like some ancient god's breath, hot, greedy, and brutally cruel. Yeah, thickens to fire within every breath. You try to scream, but the sound dies in your throat as it jars from the inside out. I can't get the words right, but yeah. Your skin, it doesn't just burn, it boils and bubbles, and blisters erupt like bubbles in a hot oil, swelling and splitting open over and over as if your body's trying to crawl out of itself. Your muscles seize, lock, and then tear as tendons shrink and snap from the heat. Your hands curl into claws, and not from choice, but because the flesh is warping like meat left too long on the coals. Time slows. Seconds stretch like they're mocking you. Pain loses shape. It's no longer a thing you feel. It becomes you. Every nerve screams in a harmony of madness, an unending symphony of white-hot agony that drowns thought, memory, and finally sanity. Fat beneath your skin starts to hiss. You can hear it. You can hear it as it melts, liquefies, and cooks. It runs down your sides like grease off a spit, dripping and sizzling in the fire beneath you. The smell is you. You burning. Your hair. Your flesh. Sweat. Fear is a stink, a stench that you should never ever have to associate with yourself. Your eyes, they dry out, your lips crack and peel and fuse, your tongue swells and sears. There's a point where your brain starts to just come fucking undone. Hallucinations kicking in. Not out of madness, but somewhat as a last mercy. You see water, cold, rain, snow, the sea, but you can't feel it. You never will again. And still, somehow you live a little fucking longer. Just enough to feel your own body dying in stages, piece by piece, until finally something gives out. A lung collapses, the heart stutters, or maybe the mind just fucking lets go. But by then, you're not even. Then you wake up and you recover. I can't describe that pain. The recovery is... I will not describe that pain. I will not. I've gone through this process 3 times now. 3 times. I got to the point that I just didn't want to live through this process again. I was exhausted. There isn't a word for the tired. And as the world swam back into understanding, I saw her. She floated there before me. She had a big smile on her face. Her eyes were glittering with enjoyment of what she was fucking watching. She was getting off watching this display of horror. I had a moment to catch my breath. I had a moment to look at Fen, to look at my wolf soul. He smiled. He fucking smiled. What was this? Why was he smiling? And then he winked at me. He turned to the fairy. Stop, for the love of something, please stop. We'll do whatever you ask. We'll do whatever you ask of us. I can't see him going with this. This is barbaric. This is barbaric torture, my friend. I smiled at this. A tick in my brain. He was proper hamming it up. Then I realised this had been his fucking plan. I mean, this had been his fucking plan. The fairy was lost in maniacal laughter. She was having way too much fun. She was being distracted by my burning body. She must have felt such fucking power. She must have thought she was untouchable. She must have thought... My focus was slowly getting better. I felt the last of my skin on my forearms uncrisp. Yes. Did you hear that? Fucking uncrisp. Can you imagine that? The skin uncrisping. Go on, imagine it, yeah. Imagine how much that fucking hurts. And this was Fen's fucking plan. I'll not try to describe it again in pretty words. It was like using a potato peeler in reverse on your flesh. I know it's a weird description, but it's fucking accurate. We'll do anything. I'll do anything to help him. I heard the wolf soul mentally message the mad fairy. Why was he projecting his telepathy so loud? Can you do that? It felt like he was actually shouting with his mind. I could see the fairy take on a quizzical look for a moment. She must have wondered why he was mentally yelling type thing too. He must have guessed that she had guessed that something was going on, so he melodramatically threw herself at her feet and got excited. And she got all excited again, focused on the crying and the hurting of the soul. Yet another distraction. It was a distraction, and I knew, so I looked around for the cause of this behaviour. What was it? There she was. She walked out onto the stage for a brief moment. It had to be Lucy. It had to be. It looked like my Sally, but she had deep red glowing eyes and a smile of darkness. Yeah. It was Lucy. Fenrir. I'd bloody seen her. Just as Fairy had shared her threats. Her voice had come into my mind. Will had always wanted to know what I see when I see Lucifer. And as part of this story, I'll try and say with, what I can see with my greater senses. I can describe her almost adequately. No one can describe her properly. What did I see? What did I sense? She was the owl of Earth, of a winter across the tundra, across the steppe. She wore a body shape like frost fire and sorrow. Her eyes were amber. They were like thawing honey and glowed with the wisdom of things hunted and never caught. Her hair fell like pine smoke through moonlight on a windless night. It was threaded with silence of falling snow. When it came, her voice was like warm blood on a frozen tongue, a comfort, a danger, a memory of pure wildness before even ever man dirtied me world with his first fucking footsteps. She moved. She moved with like the grace of a silver hind when she turned to look at me. To truly look at me in me. And I saw every star that had ever died above my Pax Mountains glittering in that bloody smile. I could taste her delicious scent even in this fetid air, and she smelled of ancient moss, iron-rich soil, the first kiss, and also the last. And though she wore the shape of a wolf, she was the wilderness, the deep wild that no beast or god could ever tame.
I'm here, Fen,
she said, her voice whispered by the wind in the windless air.
Let her do what she will do, and then we will let Will do what he will do. We need him to be the monster, not the man he is now,
she told me. I knew this had to be the case. I also knew that Fairy was capable of bringing out the old Will back to me. It takes a proper psychopath to bring out another psychopath. Luckily for us, buried deep in Will's psyche was the monster. The real monster. We just had to get him the fuck out of there. Will. I saw Sally as I healed. Was it another hallucination? A method of escape from what was happening? I realised I missed her. I was sad about the things I'd not done or said to her. No, this vision wasn't Sally. It couldn't be. She'd left me. Although she did always have a way of suddenly arriving back in the world when required, though. She turned to me now. She just put a finger on her lips to request me to be quiet, and then clicked her fingers. This seemed to do exactly nothing. And I stared, and she just disappeared. Broke my fucking heart. Will. Fen was trying to get my attention. Will. I looked at him somewhat muzzly from a seated position. What was he? Their protection's gone. I looked at him again. And? Oh. All the venom and the pain that had been committed on my mortal being now come back to me and hit me in the brain like a power-up on a decent fucking video game. My mind went into overdrive, and I saw the werewolf soul step into me in slow motion just as the next fiery gust from the cloaked figure hit me again. Fairy was already bugging out in a cloud of sparkly dust like the little bug she was. She'd noticed the drop of the magic force field and had already worked out that it was going to be a fucking shit show now. A shit show she may not want to be around for. Oh, what a shit show it was going to be. As the flames raged about my body, I transformed, ripping and wrenching at the restraints, and the gigantic burning black werewolf now tore its way from the bindings. The chair and the restraints were no match for the power of that I had now been given by the treatment of the venomous little bitch. She should run, fly scared, but I was going to tear her pretty little butterfly wings off her body and stick one up her ass and one in her fucking left ear. It was a mad thought, but I was properly pissed off. I mean, like, proper pissed off in the highest level of offness. I now leapt from my seat at the black cloak which was hosing me with flames. It took me a moment to pass through the fiery void between us, but once I got it, I had it by the fucking throat. The thing started to change in my grasp. It was like trying to grab it, sort of grab grip, fucking warm wax as it melted and started to reshape into it was trying to be me. Kill it now, shouted Fenny my skull. I swear I felt as though it shouted. It distracted me for a millisecond. I pulled the half-formed thing to me and tore a bite deep into the head that was now there. I arrived at my own screaming, bestialed skull, tearing into flesh and brain box. The thing turned to curdled milk in my mouth, and the body I held burst into a black shower of gore. It coated me and blinded me for a moment. With my eyes closed, I gave my entire body that whole body shape that dogs do, no fucking wolves do, and tried to use the backs of my clawed paws to wipe the remnants of whatever that fucking thing was from my eyes. It clung to me stickily. It was not good. It was not good, clean blood. It was fucking oily vileness. What the fuck is this? I asked Ben. It's a mess, mate, replied the wolf, laughing. He sounded relaxed as soon as I was able to see. I turned my violent interest to the other things that surrounded me. The Foxglove and the other fairy had fully fucked off. Who could blame them? All that were left were the giant pile of shit creature and the little green thing that was hiding behind the big pile of shit's boot. Kill him, again yelled Fen in my head. I released a huge roar at the two things. The green little thing had messed itself and split in a puddle of its own shit and piss, looking like a killed its puppy. Those evil red eyes it had were now not so evil. They showed fear, and I revel in the fear when it's shown, don't I? I revel in that. I turned to the little green creature and then to the big giant thing. The big giant thing was cowering from me, terrified. It was frightening to see how frightened the brute was. His face was just like a grimace of horror, and I think it was crying. Yeah, it was actually crying. I was... Kill him, yelled Fen again, but I couldn't. What's the fucking point? Look at him. They couldn't harm me. Look at him. Oh, for fuck's sake, Will, the soul said. They were watching you burn and did nothing. Kill them, rip them apart, torture fuckers. They saw you in pain. Show them what pain is. I could hear the disappointment in his voice. My hate had gone. Just look at these two. They were as much victims of Foxglove as me. Why would I kill them? There were suddenly two gun blasts some way down one of the rows, and the hinges of one of the double doors were blown off from the other side. The door fell into the room, and a flash of black shadow entered the warehouse. Oh, for fuck's sake, it's him. The Professor. He came striding through the doorway with a shotgun on his right shoulder and a big, beaming smile plastered across his face. I swear I saw the ting of a flash from those pearly white teeth of his. And it wasn't even needed. We're only in audio format. A young woman had appeared from what had seemed nowhere and was now standing looking at the giant. Then the little greeny guy and hissed at them like a fucking cat of all things. They had no idea what to do and were just trying to get themselves as far away from her as possible while standing in the same place. At one point, the giant tried to hide behind the tiny goblin-y thing, and it did quite well, to be honest. Then I heard it, a rumbling vocal.
Please, missus, Bertram didn't mean to do nothing no harm. Please don't hurt me.
The creature almost sounded childlike.
I'm sorry for it. Whatever it is I have done wrong, I is sorry. Oh, and please don't tell me, ma'am. Please.
I think his eyes turned to me and he offered me an arm and a hand that was bigger than myself to shake. Kill them, said Fen, a bit half-heartedly. By this time, the Professor had striden up to us. He looked so pleased with himself that I wanted to punch him in the mouth.
Ha ha ha! Good morrow, Hello, my dear gentlemen, and howdly doodly
he
doo.
said to us while giving each of us a salute.
Seems we're here just in the nick of time. As usual, you know, saving your asses once again. Pulling you from the fire.
He announced while looking at the giant and the goblin.
Ah, Bertram.
Said Simon, looking at a creature from the dump.
What trouble have you got yourself into now, my dear chap?
Bertram, looking defeated, shrugged and answered with yet another shrug, which seemed like an earthquake rippling through a landfill sign.
I don't know, Mr. Simon, sir.
It said in response, looking at its toes guiltily.
I was helping fairies. Fairies are right lovely.
Oh, and Gupsy. Still a malodorous little twonk, I see.
The little green guy who had now stepped out of his puddle of filth was busy cleaning his bum and bits with a cloth and froze at Simon's words. His head slowly turned to Simon's and he drooped.
Oh no, is he not
Said the
him?
little creature.
Well, where the hell is she then?
He asked me as Fen and I separated, becoming our individual selves again. Foxglove fucked off, I told him.
No, not her, old chap. Her. You know. Lucy.
I shook my head while he looked grimly disappointed, scratching his chin with his free hand.
Ah, well, she does have a history of doing the old disappearing thing, doesn't she?
Ah, well. He smiled and addressed us.
Now, tell me, what are a pair of rapscallions like you doing in a place like this?
He said, smugly straightening the cuffs of his shirt. A shirt that he wasn't wearing. I loathed him right now. Kill him? Mumbled Fen in a dismissive manner. So I punched the prof right in his mouth.
Brought to you in association with Grendel Press. This is Werewolf the Podcast, a serial killer drama.